Now, I know a lot of you guys have been chomping at the bit because you want to know more about the lost waterfall of gold. Well, I can't tell you too much about it, but I'm going to show you what I know, and we're going to try to find the source. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to put the gold, some of it that was found there. And this gold is different than what you're used to seeing because it looks more like it's electrum. It has a high silver content. And you'll see that at the end of this video. But what I'm doing is I'm trying to find outcroppings that were feeding it. And along the way, I'll give you some more geology as we head up into these hills. But I have a feeling we're gonna find some incredibly rich outcroppings up in here because the geology is perfect. There's a lot of fissures up in here and a lot of alteration from hydrothermal fluids rushing into those fissures. All we have to do is find one that's at a cross junction of two faults that hit either at a 45 or a 90. Remember, I told you that before. And what happens is that increased amount of pressure does what's called fault valving. It'll actually spread the rock apart, which will create more room for more deposition. And that's where your richest areas are gonna be. We're gonna try to get up in the hills and find outcroppings and possible sources that create it, because that's right there is the real fortune. So, all right, let's get up onto the hills and find out what we can see.
Under the scorching sun of the 1880s, where the unforgiving desert stretched endlessly, an old prospector named Ezekiel "Zeke" McAllister ventured into the arid vastness in pursuit of a legendary treasure. Zeke, with his grizzled beard and a sun-beaten hat, carried the weight of years spent chasing elusive dreams. Whispers of a hidden dry waterfall cascaded through the dusty saloons and campfires, a shimmering mirage of gold nuggets waiting to be discovered. Armed with nothing but a canteen, days turned into nights, and Zeke's journey led him deeper into the desolate wilderness. He deciphered the clues left behind by those who had come before him. The petroglyphs revealed a sequence of landmarks that led to the fabled dry waterfall, the golden oasis in the heart of the desert. Following the clues, Zeke traversed narrow canyons and climbed rugged plateaus until he stood before the awe-inspiring sight of the hidden treasure. The dry waterfall, frozen in time. He stumbled upon a peculiar rock, its contours shaped like a massive skull, half buried in the sands. The hollow eye sockets and jagged grins seemed to leer at him with a mysterious promise. A chill ran down Zeke's spine as he examined the eerie landmark, realizing it was no ordinary rock. It was a key to the secrets of the desert. Determined, Zeke pressed on, the shimmering heat waves distorting the landscape as he crossed dunes and navigated through canyons. Dry waterfall, frozen in time, sparkled with the glint of gold nuggets embedded in the ancient rock. A ledge, concealed for centuries, cradled the precious bounty that had lured prospectors and dreamers into the desert's embrace. In that moment of triumph, Zeke McAllister felt a connection with the generations before him. A humble prospector who had turned the whispers of legends into the tangible riches of the desert.
I tell you what, looking for gold mines, lost gold mines, and new low deposits will test your metal every time. I got to make it up to the top of that ridge. I'm gonna go on the other side of the saddle, then I'm gonna hike up in that canyon and see if I can see anything. If not, I'll go back and I'll get the side-by-side and see if I can drive around some more and get me closer. But if I spot something, I'll show you what I got. But I think I'm really close, and I'll show you what that waterfall looks like up close. I'm not gonna show you exactly where, because I don't want you running out here and taking all the gold. I got some caves over here. You see them? These are always good to check out because you never know. The old timers hid something up in there. See that? I don't know if you can see in there. There's another one up on top. Because every now and then you're going to find a cave where somebody hid something about 100 years ago. And you might just be the lucky one to retrieve it. But if you do find something, I'm gonna tell you right now, you don't tell anybody, okay? You guys see that? That looks like an old clay marker. I wonder if it still has the claim in it. Oh yeah, all this has been brecciated. You see that? But I don't see any good mineralization in it. Do you? All right, let's get up here and take a look. See if there's anything in there. Oh yeah. You see all this volcanic? This is all volcanic welded tuff. You can see all the clasts that are in it. All out throughout this whole thing. Wow. Yeah, and there's that clay marker. I remember finding these as a kid. And they had the old can in the bottom. Remember that? Yeah, and it's still there. Right there. You see that? This is what the old timers would put their claims in. I wonder if there's anything in it. All right, let's open them up and see what's inside. Yeah, there's a there's a claim in there, but that paper's like 1,000 years old. See it? Right there. Ooh-wee. Yeah, I couldn't open that thing up for nothing. All right, we'll go ahead and put him back together, and I'm gonna put him back in. And that's what I recommend for you people out there. If you find these things, don't take them. You can read them, photograph them, put them back in. Put the rocks back on top. Don't destroy history, leave it as it is. Cover him back up, like that. Here's another example of that ash flow tuff. You can see I've got tuff above, and down here it's a no-brainer because you have these huge clasts from the original host rock. And you can see them all in here too. See all these different clasts? And they're all angular and sharp. See that? Looks like somebody's been drilling out here. See that? These are drill holes. But yeah, this is definitely tough. This is the stuff that first comes out of a volcano when it erupts. It's all of that ash plume that blows out. And as it's blowing out, it's taking some of the original host rock or basement rock with it, shatters it and fractures it. And then as the stuff rains down, it's hot and it hits the ground and it cements up. It turns into this hardened material. Everything is just kind of like a jumbled up mess of country rock and ash. And then if it's hot enough, it'll turn into a welded tuff. But this is ash flow tuff right here. And I can see another one there, probably different episodes going on. Because a lot of times volcanoes erupted over millions of years over and over again. So you're gonna get different compositions, you're gonna get different colors in there, different layering. And yes, some tuffs do have gold that precipitate out of them from all this nasty mess. We'll go over that later. And then all of that is basaltic cap rock. That came after the ash flow came out. So you have all this basaltic cap rock sitting on top of the tuff. You see that? Does it make sense now? There, you can see it better from way over here. See that light band in between there? That is a whole bunch of tuff, ash flow tuff. So you have multiple episodes or generations of eruptions, and you can see that you have different colors of volcanic mass that was ejected out later. Interesting, huh? And that all ties in with Bowen's reaction series. So the reason why you have different color magmas coming up out of the ground, one of them is Bowen's reaction series, and I did a video on that. The other one is partial melting and mixing of two chambers, and the other one is contamination of wall rock mixing in with the magma chamber. I've got float everywhere out here, and it's got some good mineralization in it too, which means there's a vein around here. Now, you always hear me talking about brecciation, and you can have fault brecciation, hydrothermal brecciation, all different types. Well, the one that you're looking for that's gonna have gold in it, mostly, is going to be your hydrothermal brecciation. That is the good stuff, because what has happened is a lot of pressure has built up right above the magma chamber, and all that steam has to come out. Yeah, there is steam that comes off of these magma chambers, carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide. So as it comes up and it has nowhere to go, and if the pressure builds enough as that magma chamber is cooling, it's going to literally force its way up. All it needs is a tiny little fracture. It's gonna get in there, and it's literally, as it goes up and there's less pressure on it, it's gonna explode, fracture that rock and brecciate it. And the infill behind it can have gold, or maybe there's other generations behind it that have gold in them. And that's what you're looking for, is the fine-grained infill that's cementing that broken white quartz together. It's really simple. Now look at this. I followed this guy all the way up here, and I've got broken quartz and float everywhere, and then it stops right here. So I'm sure there's a vein under my feet. Do you see all this green? And look at this. See all this breccia right here? Now you can see all this beautiful chlorite, epidote, and little traces of olivine in there in the breccia. And then the infill is all that beautiful red hematite. And of course the infill, which is the fine grain material that's cementing the breccia back together, is what's gonna have the gold in it. So when you're out in the field and you see brecciated zones, especially if they're hydrothermal brecciations, then you're gonna look at the fine grain infill that's cementing it all together. That's usually where your minerals are gonna be, your sulfides, things like that. Check that with a jeweler's loupe and see if you can find anything. And if you think that there could be something, grind it up down to -20 and pan it out. Got this beautiful, beautiful vein sandwiched into this granitic host rock. And look at the mineralization that's in there. Isn't that nice? And you can see where somebody was digging right up against the hanging wall. You can see the alteration zones on the outer edges. So we just have to keep an eye out for more veins. Oh, that looks like the other section of it right there. See it up on the ridge? Yeah, veins don't stop. They just pop out somewhere else. You can see I've got a fissure there with a little bit of alteration. You can see it, but it's nothing to write home about. It's all part of this same complex. So we're gonna see if it turns into anything better. This is a prime example of why you need to make sure you know exactly what your limitations are and what the weather's going to be like in these areas you plan on prospecting, because the roads change every year, and there's going to be times where you can't get even a bicycle or motorcycle in. You're just going to have to get out there on foot. There's no two ways around it, and you better be ready and prepared for that, especially if you start finding stuff. So make sure you know your limitations and you go during the right time of the year. Now, take a look at this wash. You see how I have all this conglomerate here? It's light colored, and then what happens? See how there's a distinct difference in color? And look at this black sand in here. Look at that, that's nothing but white, red. That is a good thing. Because you know me, I always say the redder the better when you're looking for gold deposits. So you know me, I'm gonna go head up in that canyon and see what we find. Look at this, tons of black sand. Look at that. Gobs and gobs of it. It's all coming from up here. And this is what you need to do too, if you're out and about. So you need to get out on foot and look around. Look at this, look at this. Look what I got. Yeah, a little tiny waterfall. But there's no rocks in the bottom. Well, that's terrible. And this is all flow sand here. Wow, look at this granitic rock. Look at these huge phenocrysts in here. These case bars, they're monstrous. Now, most of your granitic rock has some type of a plagioclase or orthoclase in it. And in this case, I've got potassium feldspar. So instead of saying potassium feldspar, they just say K-spar. So you're gonna hear me say K-spar a lot. And that's what this pink material is. Those are K-spars, and they're huge. And when they're that big, they're referred to as a phenocryst, okay? So let's keep going because all that black sand and red dirt is coming from up there. And I got more waterfalls. Ooh, that's cool, look at this waterfall. But there's no gravel. There ain't no gold gonna get stuck on that. What's the matter with you? More black sands. Tons of black sand. I know you're here. I know you're here somewhere. I got some good bedrock, that'd be worth sampling. Oh, I see where it's coming from. And somebody has been digging, you see that? Oh, and look at all this quartz. Oh my goodness, look at this. Huge quartz outcropping. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, look at this. This is fantastic. Oh yeah, nice. Oh, big outcropping right here. And you can see where somebody's been digging. Look at this, look at this. There's the vein, right there, you see it? Isn't that beautiful? Oh, and this has all been broken up and brecciated. When you see quartz veins like this, that are all broken up, this is referred to as fault breccia. The fault has moved and shifted and broken up the quartz. And then it's gonna give space for more hydrothermal fluids to come up and fill in. But for right now, it's just ground this stuff up. And if it keeps grinding it up, it'll turn into a fault gouge. You see how that works? So it starts grinding, that's called fault breccia. Grind some more down to a powder and a paste and a clay, that's called fault gouge. Good gold is found in this stuff. So make sure you sample it. That's what we're gonna do here too. And don't forget to smash that like button, smash it hard. At the end of this video, I'll leave a snapshot up of the gold that's coming up out of those hills. And I'll see you on the next video.